The search for missing Americans goes on, but in the rubble of the Montana hotel, it gets grimmer by the hour.
Our intent and our mission is to get everyone, and that's what I told the parents when they were here, is to get everyone that we can.
And at this point, it's not search and rescue, but it's not, is it recovery?
Well, recovery is a word, it's a definition. I mean, that's what we're doing, is trying to recover bodies with respect and dignity and honor. We are trying to recover not just the people that are here, the bodies, but recover some sense of closure for the parents and the people and the loved ones and the family that are out there.
It's believed there are 50 to 60 people still buried here, as many as 17 Americans among them. Veronique Wieder from Miami is waiting to get word about her 7-year-old son, Aile.
How are you holding up?
I have my moments, my breaking down, and I have my moments that I have to be strong and still keep going in. Because we want to have either closure, know what happened, or there's still, the glimpse of hope is little, but still have some kind of hope, I guess, until we, find him.
So there's a part of you that's just holding on to hope?
Yes.
The names of those missing, the lost, are written on 2 small boards, a flickering candle, a constant memorial. The Montana Hotel is one of the most searched sites in Port-au-Prince, and there's a good chance that many of those who died there their bodies will at least be recovered. In other parts of Port-au-Prince, however, the dead still trapped in rubble may never be found. The wreckage like this is so dense and so dangerous to search that it's likely it's just going to be bulldozed. And the terrible truth is that anyone whose body is still inside this kind of rubble, they're simply going to be discarded along with the debris. Some Americans who've died have already disappeared. The morning after the quake, we were shown the passport of an American woman.
This man has lost 4 family members. He just showed me his wife's body, which is under a shroud, and he's now worried about another family member who's an American, whose name is Rose Marguerite Olivier, and he believes she is trapped inside that building as well, and he's pretty sure she's dead.
We contacted the State Department and told them of her death and her location, but no one ever came to collect the body. Days later, her husband found her corpse in the rubble. He shows me a picture of her remains on his cell phone. After finding her, he says he briefly left to get a coffin. A Haitian government bulldozer arrived and dumped her body in the back of a truck. They threw her out, he says. I couldn't throw out my wife. She was an American citizen.
So you don't know where she's buried now?
No, I don't know, he says. I don't know. It's very difficult. Not only did the U.S. government do nothing to retrieve this American citizen's body, they told our office in Washington that she'd been buried in a coffin in a cemetery. Today, we went to the U.S. Embassy for answers.
Do you know why we would have been told by the State Department in stateside that this particular woman was put into a coffin and buried in a cemetery?
I don't know why. I don't know where that information came from.
Okay.
From our perspective here, we don't know the disposition of the remains. The presumption of the family, as I understand it, is that the body was taken to a mass grave. That would seem consistent with the way things are done now.
The mass graves are just outside Port-au-Prince. 2 weeks after the quake, we thought we'd find them cleaned up, covered over. But it's much worse than that. The dead are still just dumped on the ground. Little effort, it seems, has been made to actually bury them. American or Haitian or whatever the nationality, this is not how anyone expects their dead to be treated. This is not how anyone wants their loved one's life to end. The scene at the mass graves today was simply shocking. We expected after 2 weeks that the Haitian government, which has been bringing bodies out there, would at least have made the effort to bury their own citizens or the Americans or whoever these people are that they have brought out there. But what we found was literally just bodies in piles. People say, well, the Haitian government isn't up to the challenge, that they have no infrastructure, that they've been brought to their knees in this earthquake, and that may be true, but they are organized enough to have bulldozers, they're organized enough to have dump trucks, they're organized enough to have blocked the access road to this mass grave to prevent people from going and actually seeing it. We got around that blockade, and we saw it with our own eyes. The Haitian government has a lot of answering to do for what they are doing out on the outskirts of Port-au-Prince where people can't see. Now, we called Haiti's ambassador to the U.S., Ambassador Raymond Joseph. We asked him to come on the program tonight so we could ask him about why they don't even take the extra effort to at least put some dirt on these people whose bodies have been rotting out in the sun for 2 weeks now. He said, well, you should talk to the government here on the ground. We tried that. They refused to talk about it. We then went back to the ambassador, asked him to please come on because the government here wouldn't talk about it, and he refused. We invite him anytime this week to come on and talk about it, because for a government to treat their own civilians or foreign civilians like this is simply unconscionable. The dead deserve better than that, and certainly so do the living.